right, I think we're loading up over here. Wait a couple seconds for this to load up. Hey, all right, I think we're good. How's it going? Thursday, March 26th. It is 11:01 Eastern Time here in Danbury, Connecticut. Nate Mumford, Director of Sales Engineering, as probably you well know by now. Bunkering down in quarantine over here and talking about all that good stuff, your questions and answers in a time of remote workflows. That's right. How's it going? So hopefully you're safe. Family is good. Haven't talked to you since yesterday. So got a lot of questions from you guys regarding voice tracking, Zeta2Go questions, and all of that good stuff, which is fantastic. Keep them coming. As always, live at rcsworks.com. That's LIVE at rcsworks.com. Or you can comment below as well. We'll answer those today and future questions that you have as well. So I have had a lot of questions regarding trim in, trim out, auto ducking, and all that good stuff in Zeta2Go. So I thought I would showcase that today and talk about that and just review about other things while we're getting ready. So just to remind you, some important websites for you. We have that online help guide, rcssupport.com/help. That's going to give you product help files for all of our RCS products, just a little kind of how-tos in there as well. You can go to remotework.rcsworks.com. That's going to give you a lot of different scenarios, some videos we're doing here in regards to all the ways that RCS products can get you on the air and keep you on the air as well. So again, you can see here, just showing a couple of examples. That's our coronavirus video we did about 2 weeks ago, starting with the schedule, what G-Selector2Go and Selector2Go can do for you, how you can control everything with Zeta2Go, and of course, if you have sales work, Acquira2Go, that's in the mix as well. Speaking of Acquira, if you do have some clients and some salespeople that are using Acquira2Go or you haven't utilized it yet, I'm working on something for next week. Hopefully, next week we'll have an update for you and we'll do some Acquira2Go stuff doing the first half of next week's Q&A and remote workflows. And of course, don't forget Zeta cloud-based disaster recovery. I'm working with one of our clients right now who unfortunately got crypto locked in the middle of all this going on, which is delightful. Don't forget Zeta cloud-based disaster recovery. Treat it as its own individual market. All your changes, audio, metadata, and logs and backups are all sent to Zeta Cloud in an Amazon Web Service instance. And just so you guys know, that's not a VM in the cloud. That's a true Zeta Cloud. It was written for Amazon Web Services, and it follows all the safety protocols as well as all of those infrastructure. And so what's great about that is any live changes that are done get reflected to Zeta Cloud, and then once there, your files are safe, all your backups are safe. So if you do get any kind of cryptoware or something happens, you can essentially go back, restore your database as well with your new machine, and then again, you're back on the air. In between, if you have to go and continue to broadcast live, Zeta cloud-based disaster recovery does have an encoder built in. That's a URL that goes to wherever you want it to be. It could be a transmitter site. It could be wherever. It's a URL. And then from there, you can go to your phone, pick up your phone, boom, and then just go to Zeta Cloud, us.zetacloud.com. You can log in with your username and password on your phone. Again, it's not an app, it's a URL, so no downloading, no updating. Whatever has an internet browser, you can access it, and once you're there, you can go and simply enable your Zeta Cloud stream, and boom, you're back on the air. So very powerful tools over there. If you have any questions, you can feel free to comment here on our page as well, and we'll just dive right into all the good stuff. So just to review for you, don't forget we have iPush, RCS Remote. Those are iOS apps for Next Gen. We also have the Next Gen Remote Studio, which is essentially Next Gen but remote, so it doesn't have the on-air sequencer, but allows you to have all the access to voice track, load audio, all of that good stuff. On top of that, we have Zeta2Go, Acquira2Go, Selector2Go. Those are all, again, URLs, allowing you to essentially schedule, control the station, and look at your sales figures and numbers too. And then we also have brand new in the age of coronavirus is we created the Zeta Remote Studio package. It's brand new. And what we want to do is pretty much price a package together for you and your team so that, you know, if you're on a strict budget, obviously with the advertising is getting pulled left and right, we wanted to make sure that we gave you a tool to continue to broadcast on the air, while as at a, you know, budgetary friendly price. So if you're interested in Zeta Remote Studios, it's the same exact thing as Next Gen Remote Studio, but for Zeta, and that pretty much includes you get Zeta proper, just without the on-air sequencer. That's what that is. So if you're doing a lot of, you know, different, you know, one person was asking about missing audio reports, for example. You can run that from, you know, your Zeta Remote Studio if you want to do that. So that's a thing. Any questions you have for me, definitely, you know, reach out. I can get you in touch with your local RCS sales representative, and we can go from there too. So I have no questions yet, so I thought I would just dive right in here and go to my Zeta to go. I do know for a fact, I forgot to hit the record button. Oh, I forgot to hit the record button. That's on me. It's okay. We're just streaming. So anyway, I thought we'd go to Zeta to go. And I know that I've had some issues with my mic inputs, but I believe I can get this to work here. I wanted to show everybody how Zeta to go should respect your local Zeta proper settings. So first things first, if you have any questions regarding heads or tails, configuration and system, okay? That's going to bring you to this voice track and quick record option here at the very, very top. Over here, this is pretty much talking about, you know, voice tracks, you know, dates, titles, all of that. But down here below, you can see the head audio duration in the segue editor and the tail audio duration in the segue editor. So the heads and tails of the file, and you can see here I have mine defaulted to 10 seconds. If you got a classic rock station that you really want to have a long fade out, perhaps that's 15. If you are in a place, let's say, that has very, very, very poor internet, you can always take that 10 seconds to make it 5, so you're downloading less locally cached audio. But that's where you control the heads and tails. This is my Zeta proper. So if I go back to my Zeta to go here, I'll simply just scroll down here in my log, find, here's happy. Okay, that will work there. Let's turn on my auto sync. So anything I load up over here will transfer immediately over to my segue editor and voice tracker here on the right-hand side. Don't forget, Zeta to go, you don't need empty voice track positions. If you have them, that's great. If you don't, you can just simply go and load a highlight over here. It's going to load in your voice tracker on the right-hand side and just switch to the actual voice tracker itself. So this is going to load up over here while we're doing that. Let's go and load this up here. Again, your Zeta to go is based on seats while this is loading up for you. So you can have essentially multiple seats if you wanted to. They're all based on, you know, your RCS licenses. And then, of course, if you wanted to have, you know, more seats, if you have it currently, we can always get more seats for you. Remember, again, you have an unlimited amount of users. It's just a matter of who's authorized to log in to Zeta to go, and then the number of seats you have as well. So, for example, if I have 5 seats, I could have 10 users authorized for those seats, and I can just go ahead and log in, log out accordingly, but I can only have 5 concurrent users at any given time in Zeta to go because I have 5 seats. That's the concept. So you can see here on the right-hand side, this is my segue editor right now, loading these files. I can switch that over here to the record mode. So click on the record button. That's going to switch. And of course, it's taking its little sweet time here because I have about 8 things going on. I know. We'll pick here. Let's do one down the road here. We'll do Lifehouse Between the Raindrops. Record on there. So this is loading up over here. Turns out when you're using your mic input and you're streaming and you're recording with Zeta to go, you got to give a little patience here for the internet to load up. Anybody have any questions? They can, of course, log in over here on my other monitor here. I have my Facebook comments open, so if you do have questions, let me know. Yeah, so let's do this. I'm going to show you. I recorded this earlier here because I had assumed that my mic source would have an issue. So I'm going to load this up over here. This is what I just recorded about 10 minutes before I jumped to my Facebook Live. This is just a video of me recording my voice track. So what you're going to see here in this video is essentially my Zeta to go login. Come on. Wow, this is like, there we go. So you can see here, this is recorded earlier. What I have essentially is my voice track. So I'm going to go and voice track this song right here. Feel Happier, WRCS FM. This is DNCE, Cake by the Ocean. So there's my voice track, right? You can see I'm going to save it. There is my intro. And you can see I'm just going to kind of move it left, move it right, save it right there. It's going to get content managed. So on the left-hand side in the logs, you'll see that my actual voice track is right there. Thursday, 10:31 on Zetta2Go client by the user supervisor. That's what I logged in as. Switch back to my Zetta proper. I'm going to go to the Segue editor right here. So again, you can see that this is my my Zetta proper system automatically gets saved into the log itself. And I want to show you when I record what it looks like in the Segue editor back in the studio. So again, Segue editor, you can see the auto ducking is there with my fade in, as well as a trim in and trim out as specified by my transition in Zetta2Go. And if I go to the metadata in my voice track, I just double clicked on that, bring up the metadata voice track. You'll see the trim in is set, the trim out is set, and that's to be saved accordingly as well. So for a lot of users who are asking for the trim ins, the trim outs, the auto ducking, that should be respected at the local level, right? So when you record it in Zetta2Go, that should respect back during the playout of Zetta2Go and Zetta proper. So again, just to review that one more time here, you'll see there's my voice track. And then what I'll do here is essentially I'll just hit play one more time here. And I'm going to save that voice track. I'm going to go to my transition, my Segue editor, and Zetta proper. You're going to see there the heads, the tails. You're going to see the auto ducking enabled as well, and the trim in, trim out, and all of that good stuff here. So that again is going to load up here. Zetta proper, all that good stuff. All that red just means that's the fade in, trim out, all of that good stuff. And again, if I double click on it to show you the actual file, the actual asset, there's the trim in and trim out. By the way, when you save audio in Zetta2Go, very similar process. If I go back, I'm going to close this right here. Boom. Okay. I'm going to close my video here. Don't forget too, if I go and let's just switch this, I'm going to go to my edit layout here. I'm going to change from my IVT module to my library module. I'm going to save my layout. And then once I'm in here, and again, just to review for people that are brand new, layout at the very top, there's layouts. These are all of the options you can have. Personally, I like the 3-panel with header. That's what you're seeing right here. To me, it's a nice organizational thing because I can have the on-air sequencer on top, the logs in the bottom left, and either my library or my IVT, that's the Internet Voice Tracker module, on the right-hand side. So depending on what you're doing in Zetta2Go, there's different modules you can have open. And yes, if I save the layout like this, if I close Zetta2Go and relog back in, it's going to respect the most recent layout that you saved. So in case you do have multiple people utilizing the same profile, maybe there's a production person versus a voice tracker, you might see that you have the same login. You might find yourself switching back and forth these layouts. If it were me, I would isolate both users, make sure they're authorized for Zetta2Go, and then you can save those same layouts based on where you are. But I have the 3-layout approach right here. Just to remind you, if I go and add any new audio, I'll just hit a little plus for right now, add new media. Remember, the metadata module will respect whatever asset type you're highlighted. So in this case, it's songs. When I hit that plus, it's going to open my metadata song window. That's what it's going to do there. So here's my metadata song window. Again, there's no files here. I can go and click a little folder here and search for a file. Or if I want to, I can drag and drop audio into this window as well. Okay? So if I wanted to go and let's say add a spot, what I would do is I'll go to the spot asset type, hit a plus, drag and drop that file in. Maybe go to the Windows Explorer and search for it, and boom, you're good to go. There's a great video. I'm not going to save my changes here. There's a great video. We were tagged on our Facebook. Tim Lee, of his last name, over in Australia. It's a fantastic video in regards to doing some recording options in Zetta2Go. One of the things that I highly recommend doing is if you have an auto import folder created in Zetta, And that's just going to be under configuration, system. Don't forget, we create locations first in Zeta, and then we have essentially what does that location do? What's its purpose in the Zeta environment? So locations are right here. You can see I have an auto import folder. It's just Z, Zeta, import, sound effects. It's wherever you want it to be. But in your case, it might be a public folder, right? So it might be a mutual shared location with a VPN that you can go and create. Then from there, we have an auto load setting. That's in the auto load tab. And you can see here, I have an auto import sound effects. So just some generic settings here. Import location, that's the one I create over in the locations tab. The Zeta demo, that's my machine. It's going to look for these file types, where it's going to fall into as an asset type. Again, you can see here, song, spot, links. What am I going to do when I see it? I'm going to match on something. I'm going to match on external ID, file name, whatever it may be. And then from there, I have some activate settings on which station it's going to be activated on. And again, this is the folder settings in regards to the location I created earlier. So if I wanted to, what I can do is create using Adobe Audition, Audacity, because it's free. Either one of those, if I'm making some promos, some commercials, whatever it is, I can combine all those, save it, put it in that auto import folder, and then Zeta will automatically ingest that into the system. Or I can go and drag and drop that into Zeta to go. Both of those works for adding audio. Again, we're talking about spots, we're talking about new songs. And again, that's going to respect your audio analysis that you have. So just very briefly here, I'm just going to pick links for right now. And just to show you how this works, visually speaking, I'm going to go and grab, let's see here. On my desktop, I have a little quick sweeper. Go drag that sweeper over. Oh, there we go. See a little kind of square? That's my sweeper. I'm going to drag it, drop it in my metadata link window. See that? Analyzing, updating. And you can see here, there's my audio analysis. There's my trim in right here. There's my trim out and my segue points. All three of those are audio analysis tools that I have set as default in my Zeta environment. Okay? So if I'm going to automatically ingest any kind of content with an auto import folder or Zeta to go, Zeta will respect that audio analysis when it gets content managed in Zeta proper. So just so you know, that's there too. If you got questions, you can course live at rcsworks.com. You can comment here as well. Drew was saying, yes, if you got any G Selector or G Selector to go questions, you can also look at our top fan, Drew Bennett. He'll help you out as well with any questions you have in regards to the sales of G Selector and all that good stuff. So we covered auto importing. We covered the trim in, trim out. I am absolutely aware that in regards to Zeta to go, we really want to have a little more control. Again, it'll respect the trim in, respect the trim out. But let's just say if I'm in the IVT module here, I hit record. Once I'm there, if I make a cough or whatever, I'm going to have to, adjust that in the back end. So I'm aware of that in regards to having a little more control. I'm talking with the Zeta team right now about getting some enhancements there for the Zeta to go trim in, trim out. So if you are one of those users who understands what you want to accomplish in the Zeta to go voice tracker, I hear you. I'm working on it. We'll let you know. Speaking of things that we're working on. Morning shows. I know we have a lot of people who are talking about the morning show aspect, having multiple microphones, getting kind of fed into one source. That one source then gets fed, of course, on the air. We are working something. We have a meeting today, so hopefully we'll have some updates for you next week in regards to having a tool that's going to take multiple inputs or outputs, depending on where your logic goes, multiple sources, combining them to one, and then sending them to Zeta. So we're working on that right now. Obviously, RCS being the worldwide leader in automation software, we got some things going on in the background, and it's a big priority for us right now because obviously everybody's working from home, and we need those capabilities to combine microphones, send them to one single location. So just want to let you know that we're working on it. It's coming. I'll have more details for you probably next week. We're very, very excited for this. It's going to be a really, really cool feature as well. Comments on their Facebook page, live at rcsworks.com. I am Nate, In case you're just tuning in right now, we do this. It's going to be our Q&A in a time of remote workflows. Essentially, twice a week, we're going to air questions and answers about our clients. We essentially found that a lot of them are just trying to grab information and, stay online as best they can and stay over the air. So we're here to help out. About twice a week, we'll have floating Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. We'll pick a time, pick a date. We'll let you know about it. And on the flip side, we'll do every Thursday at 11 a.m. We'll always do that one as well. So if you have your questions, get them in. And, of course, we'll save these and showcase them later for you as well. One of the questions we got from one of our users was talking about microphone quality. And he was worried. His question was essentially, I think it was Josue. His question was, what can I do? Do I need to buy a mic processor for my USB microphone to broadcast into Zetta2Go? It's a little loaded question because it really is all based on each user's individual setup and configuration to the transmitter. The best way I can describe it is essentially let's follow the path of how you want to achieve this, right? So I have my little USB microphone here, right? Okay, that's how I'm broadcasting. This one in particular has a little compression in it, but maybe I like it, maybe I don't. It's up to you. Of course, you can always just do an asset, record it into Adobe Audition, do all the processing, compression, save it, and drop it in as a voice track. You can definitely do that as well. However, let's think about this logically for a second. So if I have my microphone here, this then gets sent to Zetta proper. When I'm in Zetta proper, don't forget Zetta proper has EQ settings associated with it. So I have essentially, I want to go to my station rather. So don't forget, Zetta proper has its own station-specific EQ and normalization. All that is non-damaging to your original WAV files. You can change it at any time. It's all done post in regards to playout. And in case you're just dying to know, that's under config, under stations, and you can see here there's normalized, ducking, and a whole bunch of other options here as well. So I have my own normalization EQ set up on Zetta proper. So now I'm taking that file, right, the voice track from Zetta2Go on my microphone. I have it going sent to my my Zetta proper. That then gets, during the playout, gets EQ'd and normalization on top of that. So at this stage, I've already done some normalization, done some EQing, making sure everything sounds normal as it is. At this point in time, when I send my Zetta to my transmitter, most stations have more additional EQ and processing at the transmitter site. So I'm still taking that original WAV file that I recorded on my USB microphone. I'm sending that all through Zetta. It's got the Zetta EQ normalization if you have it enabled. And then I'm going to the transmitter site that has its own processing associated with it as well, right? Think of it as kind of a similar thing with an MP3 or a WAV file. I have Zetta has its default audio format. If I take a WAV file or an MP3, I convert it to a WAV, we're golden. Let's just say that original WAV file we recorded on Zetta2Go was on your iPhone or your Android or some kind of bad source. Well, guess what? It's going to then go through all those steps with a bad source. So if there is any issues in regards to your original USB microphone, be it, even this happens too, stereo or mono. People ask us all the time, should I have a stereo or mono option in Zetta2Go? Well, most stations will take that mono and will split it left-right, and then, of course, we'll feed it to the transmitter site. So even though you're recording it in mono, it's still going to play it out in stereo. But if I have, let's say, an MP2 with a very low quality, and of course that has the clipping on my threshold on my actual WAV file, there's nothing I can do to get that ceiling back. That ceiling clipped all of my sine waves. I'm not going to get that back, despite the Zetta EQ, despite your transmitter EQ. So in regards to that question, do I need mic processing for my USB microphone at home? The question really ends up being, it's rhetorical. How does it sound on the air? Do you find that your microphone is a lower quality and it's not beefy enough? Okay, you got to get probably some processing. If it sounds fine to you, great. That's the end game here. It's the miracle of radio, the magic of radio is that as long as it sounds good, that's all that matters. right? So let's check in here. Andrew's checking on Facebook. Thanks for checking in, Andrew. Hey, greetings from Australia. How's it going? Who you guys are safe over there? What time is it over there in Australia? Is it like, I think it's like, what, 5 p.m., something like that, I believe. But thanks for checking in, Andrew. You got questions, you can comment here as well. Yeah, we have a couple more minutes here. I thought I would kind of keep this around 30 minutes or so and talk about different things. Want to mention too, by the way, if you are interested in any of our products, that's going to be the Zetta Remote Studio package. Again, that's brand new for all these working at home users. Zetta To Go, if you need more additional seats, that's pretty easy. We can just up your license and you're fine. But if you don't have Zetta To Go and you're trying to get that activated, we can definitely help you with that too. Just be aware, we have a lot of users all across, at least for the US side, but also international as well. We have a lot of requests for this and they're kind of booking up pretty quickly. So if you are thinking about it, if you want to start the conversation, I would definitely start the conversation now with your local RCS sales representative, because if you don't want to get kind of on that list and figure out where you are, and all of a sudden things happen. In regards to my legacy selector users, version 12, version 15, just so you know, you can obviously go and use a RCS client or selector client, use a VPN, connect to the selector server, wherever that may be, and you can go and be online. However, don't forget about our friend at, if I load this up here, Selector To Go, right? Selector To Go has the ability to, again, it's a URL, it's on an app, so I can go anywhere I want. If I have a machine that dies, if I have multiple users, I can go on my phone, whatever it may be. This is not a physical install. This is literally a URL. I can go and schedule my station. I can go, schedule my log. I can adjust my clocks. I have library to add songs, linker to add links, clocks, scheduler, editor, all of that good stuff. That's all here in my Selector To Go. Any changes I make, if you do have Zetta as well, these are live instant changes in the Zetta environment as well. So it's a very, very powerful tool. I will tell you that we have, again, the normal process for G Selector for users is we'll get you onboarding, get you conversion, get you a database, all of that good stuff. Obviously, time is of the essence. It's a process, it's a workflow. So it's not something we can't just go and you can call us right now and say, hey, I want G Selector, I have it for tomorrow? We will definitely rush this for you and try to get it to work. But again, I'm just trying to make sure you're understanding the time frame here, that we need to work out some installation and configuration. Where's your G Selector server going to go, and stuff like that. So we do have a lot of bookings coming up. So just be aware, if you're interested, start the conversation now. Drew is right there for you on our comments section. He's the 914-259-4730. That's Drew Bennett, our National G Selector Sales Manager. He'll take care of you on there as well. Frederick, greeting Frederick from Sweden. Wow, thanks for checking in, guys. And Jamie, yes. Oh, lockdown. I don't know about you, Jamie, but I've been here since, I don't even know the time anymore. I think this is week 3. If I'm not mistaken, since I've been working from home. So, yeah, I totally know what you mean. So, thank you for checking in, Jamie. We'll keep doing these twice a week. We'll have, again, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll float that probably more in the afternoon, like a 3, 4, 5 Eastern time. And then we'll have Thursday, 11 a.m. every time there, too. And I'm here to answer any questions you guys have. So feel free to chime in, all that good stuff. Jim, greetings from South Carolina or North Carolina? From the Carolinas. That's how we... Hi, Jim. Hope you're safe. So we talked about today, just to recap a little bit over here. Don't forget, if you're looking for online help files, that's rcssupport.com/help. If you want any kind of remote, curious about any kind of remote tasks and how it works, it's remotework.rcsworks.com. There's links in here about how home studios, newsrooms, all these articles we've done. The video I did of the Corona, the very first, which seems like years ago, but it's only 2 weeks ago. And then we have just breaking it down, the schedule, Selector To Go. You can control it with Zetta To Go and VoiceTrack, add audio. And then sales can work remotely too with Acquire It To Go. Hopefully, we'll have RCS New Zealand and Australia. Speaking of Andrew, we're going to have hopefully the Australian team jump with us next week. That's the goal, to talk about Acquire to Go and all the things you can do there. And then, of course, don't forget Zeta Disaster Recovery. I always forget to include him, too. This is a great, great asset and great tool for you and your team. You can log in and go from there, too. So that's going to be in there in a second. Let's see here. What else do I want to talk about? Check my comments one more time before I go. So Andrew was asking what packages are available for nonprofit radio stations use or personal use. It's all, every package we have essentially is we configure with you and your station. So the best thing to do, Andrew, is reach out to your sales representative. So you're in Australia, so I would definitely reach out to your local sales representative. They can work with you based on a nonprofit. So that would be on them. That wouldn't be on me. But we definitely work with all the nonprofits and help you guys out. I know there's non-tax forms in the U.S. at least. I can't speak for that on Australia. But there's stuff like that. We can definitely work with you, Andrew, and make sure we take care of you on there too. Just kind of go through my list here of things. We love hearing your examples of your home studios. So if you want to share us any home studio examples you're doing, we would love to see them and talk about them. Again, if you're having a morning show issue and you're looking to combine multiple microphone inputs to one single source, we're working on that. Hopefully we'll have some answers for you come next week. We're pretty excited for this, and so we'll have hopefully some answers for you moving forward in regards to that. We have a lot of users, by the way, talking about the old traditional approach. If you have, let's just say, a morning show and you have an automation system, you can always go in G Selector or Selector Legacy, either one, and you can go and essentially use the old FTP approach, which is hour 1, segment 1, hour 1, segment 2. Change your clocks. Tip, do not just replace your clocks, duplicate your clocks, duplicate your grids, because we're going to get back to normal at some point in time, right? So whenever that is going to be, you don't want to have to give yourself more work down the road. So if you duplicate your clocks, duplicate your grids, make your changes, then when you want to go back, all you have to do is just change your grid back to the original one. And I'll show you that here in G Selector. But you might notice that I have my nice dark mode turned on. G Selector, brand new feature in 4.7.1. We're currently on 4.8.0 version 3.2.1. Service Pack 1's coming, I think, in a couple days if you wanted to. But I love my dark mode personally. So that's what I have here. So while that's loading up over here, again, talking about the concept of we're not going to replace our clocks. We're going to duplicate our clocks. That's the concept, right? So again, this is loading up here. I have literally, I have Zeta to Go, G Zeta to Go. I have 4 Chrome tabs. I have a Facebook that's broadcasting live with people streaming. I have my Word Notepad documents. I also have my OBS software that I'm using to record and stream this right now. So that's why it's taking slightly longer than usual. It's because my machine is pretty maxed out on CPU right now, just so you know. So I'm going to go to the, what am I doing here? Clocks. Yes, I'm going to show you the replace and duplicate options as well. So while that loads up, I'm going to check my comments here. Di and Corey. I didn't give you a shout out last time in marketing. I would not be here without Di and Corey who are helping me out here too. So again, I'm sorry I forgot you a couple days ago, but hello Di, hello Corey. Thank you. So you can see up here, there's 2 options. This is my clocks tab. So visually speaking, what I'm doing here in G Selectors, I'm looking at my clocks tab here, then my definition, right? This is broken down kind of those old version 12 and 15. And we put them in tabs really for real estate. We know that they're here. We want to make sure we have the screen resolution as high and as much as we can. So that's why these tabs are up here. So visually speaking, I'm going to say clocks and definition. That's where my eye is going from top to bottom. While I am in here, you can see my row of icons here. There is this option, which essentially is the Save Clock As option. If I just click it, you'll see it has Save Clock Name. I'll call this Corona 2 or Corona 1, we'll say. Don't worry about these sequences. The next that's for advanced features that you're probably not going to be using. Once I have the Corona 1, I'm going to save this clock, and you'll see that all of my elements are saved as it was. And now I can go in there and change this into any kind of category I want without affecting my original clock structure itself. You can see here that's not assigned to any grid. This is the last edit that I did and also the user who did it. If I want to go by last edit, I can click on that column and sort A to Z, click it again, Z to A. If I want to make sure I have all my Corona clocks, or I can go by name, and boom, there's all my Corona clocks. If you do have, let's say, a special PSA show or something that you want to copy across multiple stations, this to folder option is copy clocks to other stations. So this you can see here is I'm taking elements and copying them over to all my stations, and that includes what I want to copy over as well. So if I have multiple assets I want to copy them over, I can do so here as well. So again, the concept here is I am saving my clock as, I'm not replacing it. When I go to my assignment grid, so again, clocks and assignment, you'll see this is my clock assignment grids definition tab. These are my grids. If I wanted to, I have that same icon, clone assignment grid. Click on that, give it a name, and you'll see you'll have the exact one. So kind of grid A, grid B. I can then go to my schedule. So clock, assignment, grid, schedule. That's my default rotation, right? I'll just change it to Holiday No Jocks. When I save that, that's my default grid. And by the way, if I save this here, if I go back to my dates, you can see this will take, because I have my Holiday No Jocks. There's my date range. See that? So I would personally, because if it's uncertain how long we're going to be in this quarantine for, I would change it based on clocks, assignments, grid, schedule, default rotation, rather than going to the dates, hitting a plus, and overriding the grid with a date range. So again, just to show you briefly here, I'll pick tomorrow, for example. I'll go to the 27th, hit OK, and you'll see right here the 27th. See how that changes there? It's showing you the override. So that's my default grid versus the override. Yeah, I can go in here, hit the plus. I can pick a date range, click on this date, and go to like, April 30th and change it. I can definitely do that if I wanted to. But then on April 30th, you have to remember to go back and fix it again. So what I would do is I would go back to my default rotation and change that first. And I can always go back and change it back. And again, you look at the dates, you can see the confirmation of what clocks you're using. In case you're wondering what the difference between the schedule, dates, and the override, this override is individual clock structures. Think of the clocks assignment overrides as a sporting event where I am overriding my clock period with essentially a sports clock or some unique clock for just those hours. The grid stays the same. I'm just overriding the individual clocks for just those hours. That's the difference between overrides and the grid schedule and dates. Checking my comments here again. Thank you, Corey. I've been forgiven. I apologize. Yep, love the dark mode. That's my personal favorite. We got some things with Zeta too, as you can see. So I've been chit-chatting now for about 38 minutes or so, answering questions. Just to kind of recap one more time, we're here doing the Q&A for the remote workflows. Getting a lot of questions, a lot of answers. Want to just be here and have kind of, I jokingly call it the office hours. So if you have any questions, you can comment on our Facebook page. You can email us at live@rcsworks.com and all of that good stuff. So normally I was joking with Henrik talking about NAB, and the joke is that normally I'm at NAB talking for 10 hours at a time. So if you want me to talk for 10 hours, point me in a direction, I'll gladly talk to you. So if you have questions, live@rcsworks.com, our RCS Facebook page. In case you're on it now, but in case you need a refresher later, it's RCS Sound Software, facebook.com/RCS Sound Software, or just Google RCS, that'll work too. If it helps everybody, I can also go back. I can create actual events with URLs, and I can broadcast live that way. So if you do find it easier, I can go back to that method too. I'm just kind of jumping in, going live for right now. And then finally, we talked about today, the big thing is we were talking about all of the trim in and trim outs in Zeta to Go. So just be aware, if I jump here to Zeta to Go, what we were talking about essentially is if I voice track in Zeta to Go, it's going to respect the transition. That's what it's going to do. And that includes the trim in, trim out, and all the auto ducking as well. It's going to respect it, but obviously we want a little more control, so I'm going to look into that for you guys as well. If you have mic processing on your USB mic, that's great. If you don't forget there's Zeta processing as well as your transmitter site processing. So if you're asking yourself, do I need to buy a processor for my microphone? The question I have for you is, what does your breaks sound like currently? Are they good? Are they bad? If they're good, you're fine. Don't worry about it. If they're bad, check your microphone first. That's the first source. Remember, classic example, MP2 to a wave. You still have that ceiling on the WAV file. That WAV file will be clipped no matter how much you upgrade. It came from MP2. It's got a very low threshold. So if you have a very, I'll just say, lame mic, obviously that's going to affect your overall, voice track down the road. We'll be back again on probably Monday, or probably mix it up Monday or Wednesday, probably maybe Monday. We'll see. We'll have some Acquira questions for you as well. Acquira to go. Hopefully I'll have the New Zealand team on with me. Font of knowledge I am. Yes, Meg. And I just keep talking. Let's see here. As I said beforehand, comments will be here, answer your questions. We'll be live, but if you want to rewatch this, we'll post it on different locations. You can always comment afterwards, and I'll still comment on, answer your questions. I'm answering all of the Facebook stuff along with Di and Corey as well. That's 2 shout-outs for Di and Corey. That's because I forgot you last time, and I apologize. And, I think that's good to go for today. And, again, we'll be back next week, and hopefully I'll have some updates for you in regards to Zeta and in regards to the multi-source going to the one output for the morning shows. That'll be there, too. And I'll have some answers for those. Don't forget, if you're curious about any of these, reach out to your local RCS sales representative. Do it sooner than later because we want to get you on the schedule for the installation and configuration. We don't want to get you lost behind there. But, of course, as always, RCS, we're here to help, and we'll make it work, just so you know. All right, I'll talk to you in a little bit. Have a fantastic, weekend. Be safe. Maintain your social distancing. I have, on my front yard, I have all of my my lawn chairs are exactly 6 feet apart, so I can go and still talk to whoever is also on their own self-quarantine too. So thanks, everybody. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.